As the last remnants of the winter snow finally melt away in High Rannoch, and spring comes into full bloom, Pointage sits in the witch's cottage, pondering things. Why has the witch gone missing, and why does she have encampments nearby? Who is this mysterious artificer? And what did that Wolverine do with all my books? Hello, and welcome back to Sphere Hoppers. I'm your host and storyteller, Royce Rosewood. We are still playing through Apothecaria with our winged dwarf Pointage. So a couple of things to adjust before we get into it. We are playing at double speed, so I am doubling all the rewards, but then it only makes sense that I should also double the punishments, which means that we need to lose an additional 10 silver from failing that Wolverine remedy. And I think what this all represents is having to replace the books that the Wolverine stole. Also, Pointage did complete a craft, even though it wasn't a commission. And every time you do that, you get 2 points of craft level. And since we're doubling everything, that's going to be 4. So before we get into next week, I think we still have some downtime left over. One of the things that you start with is a garden plot that the witch has left you. So I'm going to take that scramble bramble that we couldn't use, and I'm going to put it into the garden plot, and now we always have access to that. So Pointage, now that spring is sprung and it's time to plant, takes that scramble bramble, puts it into the garden plot, which I assume is magically enchanted, and soon we'll have access to this reagent whenever we need it. All right, we'll go ahead and draw our ailment for week 4 of spring. This is Druidic Madness. After spending too much time near active stone circles, the afflicted has become obsessed with creating standing circles everywhere, obstructing traffic and annoying family. What type of patient is this? This is a heart, so this is a villager. So let's draw some cards from our combined Story Engine Lore Masters Deck of Worlds deck. This figure card, and I'm going to choose Cook. And I choose this describing card. This villager is going to be a diligent cook. And we'll give them a name. Prerik, the diligent cook. Pointage and Fila are relaxing in the witch's cabin. Fila is reading what's left of the books. Pointage is looking through the journals and maybe tinkering with his blacksmithing equipment when there's a knock at the door, and it's someone from the village, and they say, well, I know you're not the witch, but come with us, please, help. He goes down into the village, which we haven't visited yet, and in the center of town, there's this cook, and they've got, their hat and their aprons, but they're in the middle of the town square, and they're putting up all these stones, and I guess they're taking cobblestones off and making these standing stones in the middle of town. And they're like, "Can you do something?" And Pointage says, "Oh, well, let me look at the journals and I'll see what I could do." No timer on this one. All right, he's already got one of the elements that he needs from the scramble bramble that we planted, but we still need a magic reagent. So we are going to go back to Hero's Hollow, that dungeon in the giant skull underground, and look for some cold rust. As always, we're going to draw a card, and if that number is higher than the value of the ingredient that we're looking for, we find it. This also triggers an event, and now that we have integrated the Maker's Market expansion, if the card that we draw for an event is a spade, we're also going to have some sort of interaction with the Artificer and the forces of the Artificer. Oh, but instead, we draw a Joker. This is one of those things that helps us unravel the mystery of the witch. So there are 4 stages to the mystery, and I feel like 2 on each is probably sufficient. So we've already done 2 on first step, so now we're going to move on to About the Witch. So we're in Hero's Hollow, and what do we learn about the witch here? 5. Someone or something didn't like the witch. How do you find this out? Why do they dislike the witch? I'm going to draw a figure card. Oh, this is an interesting one. So this figure card connects to a deity card. So we're also going to draw a deity card. All right, whoever this person is, they're called the Speaker of the Stag being a deity. And I'm going to draw a modifier card for this figure to tell us a little bit more about them and see if we can figure out why they might not like the witch. They are trying to spread or dismantle an ideology. So I think what happens is we know that there are books here in Heroes Hollow. We've read them before. And as we're going through and Fila is with us, we're going to collect some books to kind of replenish our collection. And in doing so, we find notes or journals that seem recent from someone who calls themselves the Speaker of the Stag. And they are railing against the traditional herbalism that the witch practices. And for whatever reason, this representative of this deity called the Stag still is trying to stop the witch from practicing their particular brand of sort of natural herbalism. It's really interesting. With our bonus from Fila, we started out with a forging value of 2, and we just did an event, so we add 1, so that's 3. That's greater than our target of the cold rust, which is 2. So we find the cold rust. Blue rust that eats its way through ancient magical artifacts, picking up the object's power as it grows. So Pointage collects the cold rust and then goes into the garden and picks some scramble bramble. Now, scramble bramble does have a point of poison, but if we use a piece of the moonstone that we got from the dragon, so it's crushed and boiled, the scramble bramble with this cold rust, we'll call it Druid's Bane. Pointage rushes back to town and gives it to the cook, who drinks it up, and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I went to the woods to collect ingredients for my cooking, and one of the Fae must have enchanted me, and thank you so much for helping, and welcome, by the way, to Hyranic. Some of the villagers have seen you around and noticed you, but you haven't been into town. Come and spend some time in town. Let me thank you for what you've done." Normally, that's 20 silver. We would have to adjust for poison, but we negated the poison with the moonstone, and we're going to double that because we're playing on double speed, 40 silver. Oh, this will also increase our reputation, normally by 1, but we'll go up by 2 to a total of 11. So Pririk takes Pointage back to their tavern and cooks them up a delicious meal and pays them in silver, saying thank you. And a lot of the villagers start to notice Pointage and say, "Oh, that's the new witch's apprentice. Hey, what happened to that witch?" Pointage says, "Well, I don't know." There's a table for events in the village, so I'm going to go ahead and draw one just for fun. It's a queen. Another witch is visiting the town and invites you out for lunch. What is their name? What do they talk about? How do you get on? What is their familiar? Oh, so as they're sitting at this restaurant, at Prerik's restaurant, this other witch comes in. We'll roll up a name, and I'll draw a card for their familiar, and I'm going to draw a modifier card for their personality. I'm going to choose Brilliant. Oh, and she's going to be asking about the previous witch, so I need to know her name too. We haven't rolled that up yet. This other witch comes in, and she's very smartly dressed, and she's got a great witch's hat. She's got a fox familiar who's climbed up on her shoulder, a small fox, I guess. And she comes in and says, "Oh, Pririk, the usual, please. Yes. Have you seen Alalix? I've been looking for her, but I haven't seemed to have been able to find her." And Pririk says, "Well, this is Alalix's new apprentice, Pointage, the dwarf." Pointage says, "Hello." And this other witch says, "Oh, hi, I'm Arian. Yes. Oh, so nice to meet you. Where is Alalix?" And Pointage says, I don't know. I've seen some little hints of things, but she left notes for me when I got here, and I haven't seen her since I've been here. I've just been trying to follow in her footsteps with her notes. And Laylac says, oh, that's so fascinating. And she starts spouting off and like asking all these like particular questions about like healing and the potions. And Pointage says, I don't really know. I'm pretty new at this. I've only been doing this for about 4 weeks. Arian says, oh, shame, pity. Well, if you do see Laylac, let her know I've been looking for her, will you? All right, ta-ta. Interesting. So, starting to meet some of the people of Hyranic and sort of expanding our world a little bit. That's fun. In the Maker's Market expansion, right, we got that letter from the Artificer, and the Artificer challenged us to make commissions, more commissions than they could in the year. We will take on a commission, so we'll draw it up. So what we do is we draw 3 cards, and these tell us who the commission is from, what it's for, and how much time we have. 4, it's from a traveler. And the reason is just to see what you make, and the deadline is a week. And then we add up all those values, which gives us 12. So we have to find materials greater than 12. Pointage is still sitting at the restaurant when a traveler comes in and says, oh, yes, I'd like to purchase one of your sculptures. Please just go make whatever you'd like. I've been staying in town and I saw you at the Maker's Market, and please just go make something for me. And Pointage says, I'm not really, And it's like, oh, posh. Go. Anything will do, please. So Pointage goes out and is going to look for some metals. So we're going to go to the mountains and we are going to see what we can find. Now, in our downtime, we have 6 units of time. So that's how much time we have to find the stuff and then make the sculpture. And this traveler wants it back in 1 week. So we'll see what we can do. All right, we're back at Moonbreaker Mountain. What do we find? 7. As you pass through a small valley in the foothills, a sphinx leaps up onto a podium-like rock and proclaims that you must answer their riddle if you wish to pass. What was the riddle? I'm going to draw an object card. I chose ring. So the sphinx asks, what have I got in my pocket? And Pointage says, I know this one. Is it a ring? And the sphinx said, yes. How did you know? Everyone's been getting that one lately. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, yes. Anyway, it's a ring. Very good. You go on your way. All right, since we drew more than 4, we get 1 unit of Riverborn Tin. Let's see what else we can find. 5. A hot air balloon weighs anchor next to you, and the eccentric balloonist offers a lift to wherever you'd like to go. Increase the timer by 1. Every time you get this result, write about the journey you take together.
Oh, how goes there, good boy? Oh, get in my balloon. I'll take you where you want to go. My name's Macfin, and I'm the balloonist around here. It's a great time for ballooning. Spring, beautiful. Just let me, right over there. All right, I'll just go and drop you there. Oh, thanks.
All right, and so Pointage has met the balloonist. And we drew a 5, so that's another unit of Riverborn Tin. All right, let's see what else we find. 3. Some stone gives way under your hand, disturbing the gull drakes down below. They peck and screech at you until you are far away from their cliffside nests. Lose 2 foraging points. All right, what else happens in the mountains? Ace. You find a lost sheep in a moss-covered cave. It recognizes you and bounces over. The shepherd lives on the other side of the mountains, but it might get hurt if you leave it here. If you guide it back, decrease the timer by 2, but add 3 sweet to this potion. Well, we're not making a potion this time, right? All right, well, I don't think this interaction was intended, but I'll ask my mythic chart. If we help this sheep, can that get us a unit of Riverborn Tin? 50-50? 92. GM says no. No reason for us to help the sheep this time. But maybe next time. Let's see if we can get another unit of Riverborn Tin. It's an ace. No. The sheep is still bounding after us. So I think what this means is Pointage finally gives in and lets the sheep back, even though they don't get any benefit, and it takes time. Yeah, okay, well, we're out of time, so we'll have to get some more materials at another time. All right, that is the end of week 4. We're at the next week. Our reputation is now at 11, which means we're going to move up to the next tier of difficulty for the ailments. And this kind of makes sense narratively too, now that Pointage has started to like met people in the village and they've started to trust him, that they're coming to him with greater and greater problems. So let's see what we get this week. Trying on the intermediate ailments. King Bard Boils. Look, you have a duty to care for all who come to you, even if the affliction is unseemly. Which elders also recommend smacking the bard responsible with an oak spoon. Boils and pain. We have a timer of 4. And who is this? That's a repeat. So I've been keeping track of our patients and other people that we've met. So we'll roll on this table. 1. It's Migio back again. And so Migio comes back and it's covered in all these boils, and Pointage is like, what happened? And Migio's like, oh, I was partying and the bard, cursed me with some boils. So, can you help me out again? Thanks. All right, we're going to go to Meltwater Lock and try to get 2 units of shock fish. All right, back out on the lake. 2. While exploring one of the islands, you find a large bird's nest with an animal reagent inside. We've made this mistake before, but let's see what we get. It's a slime shell. We don't need it, so I think we're going to pass on this one for now. All right, foraging value is 3. We have 3 units of time left. A queen. A bottle washes ashore just ahead of you. It looks ancient, but the message inside seems only recently written, and even more strangely gives instructions on how to reply. Simply toss it back into the lock. What does it say? How do you respond? Each time you get this result, write a letter from your mysterious friend. Okay, I'm going to draw an engine card to see what they might want. All right, it wants to make a power grab. It says, good finder of this letter. Know that I am Queen of the Mermaids, and if you send me your magical bank account information, I will help you become very rich. And Pointage says, I think not. Bye. That was a queen, so we do get 1 unit of our shockfish. We have 2 more events to get 1 more unit of shockfish. A jack. A giant has left some tremendous item of theirs on the loch shore. Besides its size, what's most striking about the object? Does the giant come back for it? All right, well, let's draw an object card. Harpoon makes sense, because, we're by a lake. Maybe it's hunting something down in the depth. So there's this just giant harpoon across it. And Pointage notices that some animals are using it as a bridge to get across the lake. That's all very interesting. And this is a spade too, so we need to draw on the artificer. What's the artificer event? Jack. An automaton dropped something here. Draw a card and gain a reagent or material equal to its value that can be found in this locale. Pointage also notices that by the giant harpoon, he sees evidence of the automatons, which he hasn't encountered yet, but these are the agents of the artificer. And they were trying to collect some smooth croaks, these frogs. Pointage is going to collect them instead. All right, so that's our 2nd unit of shockfish. So what is the shockfish? Yet another one that's awful to collect. These nasty little buggers let out a cloud of electrically charged fluid that can make any part that touches it numb for hours. I can see that would be helpful for pain and boils. Okay, so we boil the fluid for pain, and then we distill it for the boils, and we bring it back to Migio. So now that we're at intermediate, the reward is 30 silver, so we're doubling that. So that's 60 silver, and then our reputation goes up. And Migio says,
oh, thanks, man. And if you see that bard, give him a smack for me, will you?
All right, so that's that. But we still need more metal for our commission, and we've got to finish it. So we're going to go back to Moonbreaker Mountain. Let's see if we can find some more materials. A king. All right, so this we get to go see the dragon again. He gives us another moonstone. Great. And tells us the story of another constellation. All right, let's draw another creature. Yes. Constellation of the deer or the stag. Could this be related to the speaker of the stag? All right, and what's the story of the deer constellation? They wanted to complete a dangerous quest in a glacier. So the dragon tells the story of the deer, which might be related to this deity of the stag, and how the deer went on a large quest and climbed over a glacier. And, when they kicked their hooves, the frost went up into the sky and formed the constellation of the deer. And then also, because we drew so high, that means we get to find some gold, which will definitely give us the materials that we need. We head back to the cottage. We have to work this gold, which has a difficulty of 9, which means we need to draw higher than a 9. 7. So we failed here. So we decrease the timer by 1. We get to draw again, and we get +5 on the next attempt. Okay, so that's 9. Okay, great. So we've formed the ingot. Bring, 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 bring. And then we try to shape the ingot. That's fine. All right, so we've shaped the gold into a shape. And what have we made? Let's draw an anchor card. What's the shape? Well, a work of art. Yes, well, I know. Yeah, well, maybe it's just like an abstract shape. Pointage takes that commission back. All right, it doesn't say anything about getting silver for the commissions, so I guess it's just trying to do as many commissions as possible. All right, so commission tracker, we're at 1. That increases our craft level, and the traveler takes our gold sculpture in an abstract shape and says, "Thank you very much. Good to know that the goods of Hyranic are unique and interesting." And that is week 5. Week 6, what's this week's ailment? It is 10. A terrible fright. The afflicted has seen something so horrifying, so terrifying, so unbelievably scary that their hair has turned white and they've torn their throat from screaming. Oh my goodness. And who is it? Diamond, an adventurer. This is another one of those named cards that's connected to a deity related to the stag. No, different deity. Okay. This deity is called the Devourer, and this figure is a scholar of the Devourer. So obviously some sort of cultist who has gone a little bit further than they wanted to and got a little bit spooked out. So it's the middle of the night. Pointage is woken up by this banging at the door, and they see this cultist in dark robes and whose hair's been turned white, and they just look terrified. And they said, "Please, please, anything that you can do to help me. Please, please, please. My name is Armshan. I am a scholar of the Devourer, and I can't explain. Please, just help me." So we need hair, pain, and mood. Pointage is looking over at the journal and says, well, yes, this would be a good ingredient, but I'm going to need a wand. Armshan says, I'll sell you my wand, please. Just take it, go. Whatever you can do, please. A wand is 100 silver, so we've spent almost all of our silver, but now we have a wand, and that allows us to collect additional ingredients. We are back at Meltwater Lock. We have a timer of 6, and we drew a spade for this first one, so we are also going to draw a card for the Artificer. An automaton asks you if you're looking for materials or reagents. If you are looking for reagents, ignore any spades for the rest of this forage. It's the middle of the night. We head out and we see, back at that same spot, we see the automatons. There are these machine people, these constructs, and they're back collecting those frogs again. And they say, "Halt! What are you searching for?" And Pointage says, "Look, I'm just trying to put a potion together. Please, just leave me alone." And the automatons say, "Very well, as long as you're not interfering with the work of the Artificer." And the original event is the Guldrakes who attack us, trying to steal our reagents. Fortunately, we don't have any yet. Foraging at 3, but we did draw a 3, and that's higher than a 1, so we do get the driftwood memories, which we get with the wand. The minds of trees are strange and alien things filled with thoughts that last longer than you and I will live. The peace found within those memories can be great help. Take the wand and cast a thing, and we get the driftwood memories out of, I assume, trees that have fallen into the lake. Still need 2 more things. It's a 10, and it's spade, and we ignore it because the automatons are leaving us alone. While exploring one of the shallow wrecks, you find a skeleton huddled over a barnacle-encrusted chest. Whatever's inside can't have monetary value, or someone else would have taken it by now. Do you bring the chest ashore or leave it be? If you do take it, what is inside it? Oh, come on, we gotta take it. All right, we're gonna draw an object card. See what's inside. This one is gonna have us draw a location card. And then this one is going to have us draw a figure. And then this one has us draw a location card. This is so funny. I've never had this happen before. Inside, we find a key of the tomb of the prophet of the plains. Now, I have no idea what this is or what this means, but it has no monetary value, but we will take it. That's just funny. Pointage pulls it inside this chest and gets this key. We also find a shadow shark. Whenever this glowing-eyed predator is injured, it surrounds itself with a cloud of black ink that is nearly impossible to see through. Foraging at 4, timer at 4. A jack. Oh, okay, so this has to do with the giant's harpoon. Is it still here? Yes. Oh, extreme yes. Not only that, there's now also a bodysuit. Yeah. So this giant has been diving down and been doing like some deep spearfishing, and has now left its body is just like draped over, everything. And it's just like this huge thing, and it's just massive, and it's a big pain. Despite all this, Pointage is able to collect the mermaid's gift, have all the ingredients. They have the memories and the ink and the algae, crushing and mixing and boiling it all together to create this comfort brew for the cultist, who drinks it up and says, "Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, you did cure me. Here you go, 60 silver. And please just keep the wand. I don't want it back. I don't think I'm going to be doing magic or cultist things anymore." So that's week 6. And now it's time for the festival. It says at the end of each season, there's a festival in the village. All right, so this is the Flower Festival, a celebration of life returning to Hyranek. The Flower Festival is characterized by bright colors, dancing, the giving of flowers, and a general excuse to clean out all of last year's tat in a big open-air market. Do you go to the Flower Festival dance? Who do you go with? Well, we, don't really know anyone, except for that other witch. Maybe she asks us. So Ariane, is visiting again. Pointage is heading to the Flower Festival, and Ariane pulls him by the arm and says, "You're coming with me. Have you learned anything about Alilex yet? Anything?" And Pointage says, "No, sorry." And Ariane says, "Oh, drat. Well, anyway, this is fun. I always come back for the Flower Festival of Hyranek." Pointage is going to compete in the baking contest. It says it's usual. Someone gets hurt. Oh, maybe the balloonist, Macthan, who we met, gets too excited and is baking stuff, and it blows up in his face. And he just says, "Ha ha, all part of the adventure. Ha!" I'm supposed to deal 2 cards for myself and then 3 cards face down for my competitors. The winner is whoever gets closest to 21 without getting over. Like blackjack, you may draw another card or stay where you are. Once you stay, flip over your competitors' cards and see who wins. Well, I'm at 13. And we got a hit. All right. Oh, I went over. I busted. Competitors had... Oh, we drew the Joker. So we're competing in the baking contest, and it doesn't go well. Pointage is not a baker. He's just, trying to join in and have fun. But something about these circumstances gives a clue about the witch. 2. You find evidence of a strange quirk that the witch had. What was it? How do you find out? All right, well, I'm going to draw a secondary figure card. So this says they were raised by creatures. So we'll draw a creature card. And this is a crab. And then we're supposed to draw a location to go with that. All right. Crabs that live in caves. And this one has a straw in a vent. Caves of the Devouring. And I know this is not quite the same thing, but we did have the Devourer, right? Pointage doesn't win the baking contest, but he's sitting with Ariane. They are, talking. Pointage is mentioning about the client that he had this week, the scholar of the Devourer. And Ariane says, oh, that's interesting. Did you know Elelix was raised by crabs in the caves of the Devourer? That's interesting. I wonder if that maybe has something to do with what's going on. And then finally, at the end of each month, we're supposed to draw a card for how many commissions that the artificer was able to complete. We're supposed to cut it by half, and then since we're going at double speed, we'll cut it by half again. So 9. So they're all sitting around, and there's an announcement. The automatons come in, and they say, the artificer has completed 2 commissions. And Pointage looks around and says, oh no, I've only done 1. They're already ahead. Well, we've got a year to go to find out if Pointage is able to stay on top of these commissions and find out more about this witch who was raised by crabs and their strange movements going on, doing to do with gods in the distant. You'll have to come back next week to find out more about Apothecaria and Sphere Hoppers. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying this, please like, subscribe, and share. This is Science is Fantasy Awesome, and you are awesome.